Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Off the Record with
Judah
and Kirk. Today we're talking about
Green Arrow Volume 5 of the 2023 run, which I think is like Volume 6 or 7. Overall, I know it's confusing.
Yeah, but we just covered Volume 4
of the Volume 6 or 7
a couple of months ago.
Yeah, that was the Freshwater Killer.
Freshwater, yeah.
Yeah, and
I don't remember exactly what my thoughts about that were, but
I think we both thought it was pretty middling.
With great hindsight of months and having not read it ever again since the first time.
I think that
pretty middling.
Yeah, it was very middling. This is Red Sands. This is a collection. This includes issues number 25 through 31 of this run, which is written entirely by Chris Condon. It has art from both Montos and Adriano Lucas, and the covers are done by Torian Clark. And by the way, the covers in here are excellent. Mm-hmm. I think the cover art is maybe a standout of these 6 issues. But before we dig into the plot, we're going to get Kirk's overall thoughts, get my overall thoughts. We'll give a little shout out to the channel, and then we'll dig into that plot. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Good outline. And then we'll dig into some of the, probably a more interesting part of this is the backlash from the fans about this being the last story in this Green Arrow run. Mm-hmm. So, Kirk, overall thoughts. That's our first thing.
Yeah, pretty good. Definitely a lot better than the the Freshwater Killer.
Yeah.
This one is Crimson Sands.
Yes.
So Freshwater Killer, not as good as this. I enjoyed this a lot more than I enjoyed that. Yeah. I felt like the story just had, first of all, more going for it, like a more interesting story to talk about in general. Mm-hmm. And I also thought that it just had better direction, like less convoluted in my mind, less random stuff going on in the background. Again, it's been a while since I've read the Freshwater one, mm-hmm. But still, I didn't feel like that was the most cohesive story that I've ever read. Where this one does seem a lot more cohesive. Even the various different plot threads do come together in the end,
they do.
Which we'll talk a little bit more about that. There was the main A plot, there was a slight little B plot going on as well, and then there was a C plot that for a while kind of didn't have anything to do with the story, although it wasn't exactly surprising where they were going with it to tie it into the story.
True.
But for a while there, it was kind of totally disassociated with the story. Mm-hmm. But again, in the end, everything did all tie together, and it was very cohesive. And I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed being able to kind of piece things together myself and see like where the story was going to go. I like this iteration of Green Arrow as well. Really interesting version of the character as well as the people around him. And this is all pre All-In.
This is All-In Green Arrow.
Yes, but pre
KO.
Alpha Omega. Was that what it's called?
No, this is post.
It is.
Yeah. So these 2 volumes are what come out for Green Arrow immediately following Absolute Power.
So this was post him betraying everybody.
Yeah, that's why his wife is not. That's why his wife is not with him in the city.
Yeah, that was one thing that I wasn't 100% sure on. But now knowing that, that's really interesting, and I think that it's a great follow-up to that. And him like trying to gain people's trust back and be a hero again. It's really interesting. I like that. And trying to get back the people in his life as well, not just public trust and sentiment, but personal, individual.
It's a really good through line in the story, yeah. Mm-hmm. I like this iteration of Green Arrow. I think Condon's voice and his characterization of the Green Arrow side of the DC Universe is really well done. I love his ties back to, and we'll dig into this when we dig into the plot, but like hard traveling heroes, Denny O'Neil, who really define the character and world of Green Arrow with hard traveling heroes. And I love his callbacks to that. I love just kind of how he integrates all of the plot threads, because it does at first seem like it's not going to come together, but then it does. And this was really excellently done. And yeah, that's overall, that is, like, it's good. It's worth your money to check out. I would recommend getting the trade. If your comic shop does not have the trade, they guarantee you they have the single issues. And yeah, it's really well done. Mm-hmm. But before we dig into the story, if you haven't already, Drop a like on the video if you like this book. Dislike this video if you didn't like this book or how we're talking about it. Subscribe if you're not. Leave us a comment down below with your thoughts on the character of Green Arrow and any reading suggestions for him. We're pretty good at responding to comments. So leave whatever you have below. Any thoughts you have on just this story or anything else related.
And go follow us on Off the Record JK on Instagram.
This is true. All right, digging into the plot. So we kind of pick up at this gala, and it's interrupted when Green Arrow and not Speedy, Arsenal, burst through, and they capture Count Vertigo. And they have this exchange with this billionaire guy who Green Arrow obviously doesn't like because, bleeding heart, liberal, doesn't like the billionaire, crazy. But they capture Count Vertigo, they leave, there's some ominous stuff with the billionaire in the background. And we find out that this is really Roy and Ollie reconnecting after a lot of stuff has happened. Including what Kirk mentioned earlier about what happened in Absolute Power and the relationship that Green Arrow was really having with the rest of the superhero community after that. So this is them rekindling their partnership as, Green Arrow and Speedy, or Green Arrow and Arsenal, really. So they were reminiscing on it, having a good time. Roy leaves. He comes across this homeless guy, and this homeless guy is looking for a high, and he gets it, I guess you could say, when he's shot with a crimson arrow and begins to overdose. And Roy sees this figure, this crimson archer that shoots him, and tries to stop him, and he himself gets shot with this interesting drug mixture, and he ODs and and he gets put into a coma. So we pick up next issue with really the reaction to this, which is what drives forward the narrative. Roy is in a coma. His daughter Lian is there. So is Dinah, who is Oliver's Black Canary, Oliver's wife, comes back into town. So a lot of people are coming back into Oliver's life. He hears about this happening. He doesn't believe that Roy would have overdosed, so it must be other means, which is he's correct about. And what happens from there, Kirk?
Yeah, so a couple of panels at least, probably a couple pages, I don't remember exactly, but Green Arrow trying to find out what happened. Going and beating up people on the street, trying to find out what went down and who could have done this. There's eventually he comes across the major clue, which is I believe he finds one of the arrows, right? Yes. And so he's able to use that to kind of start tracing everything together and figure this out. Eventually he figures out that this was a drug arrow, that he was right, and it wasn't Arsenal taking drugs and ODing. And probably skipping over a lot in the middle there, but essentially we get to a point a little bit later on in the story where Green Arrow has kind of figured out a couple of things and who this might be. And we get some backstory about that, and about him in Vietnam.
Yes.
And who the person that he thinks that this is. We get a couple of cool things that I really liked, which during the flashbacks, which is the Ollie was training members of his squad how to use a bow and arrow because it's silent, and how essentially that came back to bite him here, because this is a guy that he thought had died.
Yes.
But in various forms with various names, actually is not dead and came back to haunt the city, and so he wants to be the drug lord essentially of this city. And correct me if I'm wrong, Judah.
Correct you.
The billionaire from the beginning is this guy, right?
Yes, the billionaire from the beginning is this guy. I know it is slightly confusing, but yes, the billionaire from the beginning is this guy.
Because it's not outright confirmed, which I actually can appreciate. But I did want to make sure before misleading the audience. But that is the billionaire from the very beginning of this that we are introduced to, and that Ollie is immediately suspicious of, by the way.
Which is really fun.
Is in fact this guy. And there were a couple of other things that I liked that were happening in between that, though, where Green Arrow is doing his investigation, and that is eventually Roy Arsenal wakes up, and it is his daughter, Cheshire, right?
Yeah, his daughter Lian, who's Cheshire.
They go out and do some crime fighting of their own, and they have a bunch of interesting moments together. I really did enjoy seeing their relationship in this, and then this is where some things start to culminate. But Judah, first of all, is there anything else in there that you want to talk about, and then also where does this start to culminate with them all getting back together?
Yeah, thing I brought up earlier is this and its connection to Denny O'Neil and what happens with Speedy and Hard Traveling Heroes, which is from the 60s, by the way, which starts to deal with a lot of Speedy and drug abuse and that kind of problems. I really love the way that Condon handles both Oliver Queen's reaction and Roy's reaction to the situation, because it feels very true to the characters that were in those stories.
Absolutely.
Even so long ago. It's very real. As someone that has been around people with substance issues and people that are recovering from it, I very much could relate to Oliver. And when something like this happens, you're like, they can't be. Like, this cannot be this person. And it has to be other means. And thankfully in the story that's a true thing, but that's not always how it is in real life.
And then Arsenal's viewpoint on this as well, of like, I've worked so hard on this, and now it's been taken away from me.
It's been taken away from me. Like, what I had worked for, what I'd progressed on, it's really well handled and well written here. And it's a topic that we don't like to talk very much about in media, because there's kind of a taboo around drugs. Even alcohol is a little bit taboo to talk about, and especially the abuse of those, because it is kind of rampant, if we're honest.
Absolutely.
And so I really love talking about it here and handling it here. That draws back to Hard Traveling Heroes from the 60s and what Denny O'Neil was trying to do with the character of Green Arrow, of making him challenging his kind of liberal philosophy with real issues that face communities, and drug abuse is one of those real issues. So I really love the way it's handled. I did not know the character of Lian Harper very much, or very well at all.
We did see some DCKO.
Yeah, she is in DCKO for a little bit.
Yeah, Kids Are All Fight, as well as something else.
Yes, I think she appears in one of the tie-ins. Probably one of the ones you read, because if you remember her, the Titans tie-in. I think so. I think she appears in there. You correct me if I'm wrong. She could be in one of the other ones.
But at least Kids Are All Fight.
But at least the Kids Are All Fight. And I like her character here. It's very interesting. I love the way that her and Roy's relationship functions and works. It's very wholesome. And I love the little bonding time they get before this story culminates on the roof of this billionaire's company's tower, as all good stories culminate, where Oliver reunites with Roy. He's very happy to see him, obviously, and see him on his feet and not in a bed. And we get this ending where they have the Crimson Archers back to the wall, and they're about to get him. And he shoots an arrow. He misses, and he's about to take out Green Arrow. And Roy shoots him, and he trips backwards and falls off of the building. And there's really beautiful, I'm going to pull it up, really beautiful moment in here. After Roy does it, he collapses, and his daughter comes to him, and Oliver comes over, and instead of one of the staple things that is made of Green Arrow and Arsenal's relationship, if you did not know this, is that it's not necessarily a wholesome one. Oliver was not exactly great to him when he was a sidekick, and was very harsh on him for making any kind of mistakes, as one probably would be. So this moment is kind of a character moment for Oliver, as well as it is for Roy, when he very tenderly is like, "You're the best damn son anyone could have asked for," instead of, reproving him because man basically died because it was his fault. I don't know. It's just a really well done culmination of this relationship to a point that is very healthy and good and real. Really like that.
I did think that was good.
So that's really where the main part of the story ends. And but that's the end of issue 30. There's issue 31. Kirk, would you like to dig into issue 31?
Absolutely. So I believe it was through a couple of issues before this we were seeing bits and pieces of flashbacks.
Yeah.
And it wasn't exactly confirmed who this was, but in the moment, at least, what we were seeing was a little girl on a rooftop, kind of scared, and Green Arrow. And Green Arrow just like comforting her and being kind of a father figure in a sense to her, and like, you know, things are going to be all right, everything's going to work out. I'm in the city to protect you. You know, adults can be crazy and weird sometimes, and you maybe don't always know what's happening, but you don't have to be afraid. And I believe this is by this issue, this, what is it, 6th or 7th issue in the volume, 6th issue in the volume, but number 31 is where we finally see the finishing of that story, where the little girl is telling Green Arrow about a flashlight that she had taken because she was scared from her dad's belongings, and she lost it, and he got very mad at her for that. And so she wants another flashlight, but she doesn't want to get in trouble again for losing it. And so Green Arrow gives her the flashlight instead. And he's like, and this one's a superhero flashlight. And I thought, first of all, it was very sweet, adorable moment between Green Arrow and the child. As well as then finally we learn who that is, and that is the cop lady whose name I'm not remembering. Do you remember?
Not off the top of my head.
I don't remember. But this is the same cop from Volume 4 as well, Freshwater Kills, and we've seen throughout this whole thing as well. And there have been a couple of moments like she lets him into the evidence room in the police station and things like that. So we did skip over some of that. But here at the end, this is an issue dedicated essentially to just them talking on a rooftop. And she tells him, that was me. That little girl was me all those years ago. And I think she still had the flashlight.
She did, and she gives it to him.
And she gives it back to him.
That's really well done. That's Detective Lena Benitez.
Yes. So, Lena. That was one of the things as well that I was saying was like a C plot. That throughout this, we were getting some bits and pieces of these flashbacks, but we were never getting the full story as to them. Yeah. And as you're reading, it's not exactly complicated as to where this is going to go. But nothing that's like actually confirmed. But still, it is something that is cohesive with the story, and that does actually like tie in to the very end of it, and we do actually get the answers to it. And it does also tie into, you know, we're having these first of all relationship problems with Green Arrow because of him being perceived as a traitor. And so he's trying to build back some relationships, and this is a relationship that he's trying to build, as well as the kind of fatherly thing that you were talking about with him and Roy. It's like where he may not have necessarily been the greatest father figure or just father in Roy's life. He has succeeded in other ways with Lena. And we get to see some of that as well. And so it also ties into some of the other minor plot points for the characters throughout the story as well. So that's one of the massive praises I have for this one over Volume 4, that it just seems a lot more cohesive. Now, in Volume 4, I am remembering there were a lot of really interesting things that were happening with like character moments and getting some backstories for some characters and things like that. I just felt like this was done a little bit better and was more cohesive and made more sense and followed a logical structure and flow a little bit better. But.
Yes, I thought this is really well done. All three aspects of the story tie together in the end. The characters are really well written, and the arcs that it's like a culmination of. Like, it's easy to start an arc. It's easy to get people invested in what you're doing, but this is really already a culmination of arcs that were set up by other people long time ago. Like things that haven't been resolved, growth that hasn't happened with these characters that gets to happen here that I really like. And the way, again, I like Condon's voice for this world of Green Arrow. I think, given what we're probably going to talk about in our last little segment, so did a lot of other people. But yeah, this is really well done. The art in here is really good. The storytelling is fantastic, the way that it works together. And again, shout out to the covers. Like, we rarely shout out cover artists because most of the time the cover artists do the art in the book. But that is not the case here. And this series had a dedicated cover artist, and he did a fantastic job of selling that. So before we dig into the backlash from this, let's rate the book. Kirk, what would you give it out of 10?
Yeah, I don't exactly remember what I gave the first volume that we covered, which was the 4th volume. So if I am not being consistent with that, don't at me. But I think this is about 4 stars. If we're going to give it a star rating, 8 out of 10. If we're giving it, if we were going to give it a number rating, I put it up a little bit more at 8.5. But I thought it was really good. There were, not perfect. It was very character driven, and for something to get even higher stars than that, I also need a lot of action. Because these are comics, and I do want kind of big, flashy, spectacle and all that. But that doesn't mean that that's a reason that points are being taken away. It's just a reason that extra points aren't being added to it. 8.5 if we're giving it a number rating. Really good. Really good.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8.25. Again, 4 stars out of 5 stars if we're doing star system. But 8.25 is for me. Like I said, this is really well done. It's kind of the best Green Arrow we've had in years, which everybody universally agrees, and thought Condon had the right kind of direction for this series. Which brings us into this series got canceled with its last issue being released in December of last year. So December of 2025 is when issue 31 was released. The listed reason is sales, which is interesting because it was selling in the top 100. And the top 100 of comics is made up of all 3 big publishers and some independents too if they're doing successful. And generally speaking, things don't get canceled if they're selling in the top 100.
Yeah.
So sales was the reason listed. What it actually means when it says sales is FOC. So for those of you who don't know, there's this thing called first order cutoff. So
final order cutoff.
Yeah. Let's actually know. It's first.
Not in League of Comics. It says final.
Okay, maybe it's final. Maybe I'm wrong. FOC. This means basically if you're a frequenter of a comic shop, you need to let your comic shop know to order more of these books in order for them to sell better. Because they can sell out of they can get the copies that they would regularly get from the publisher and sell out of those every time. But if you don't tell them to order more copies, the books are not going to sell more. So this thing was slowly slipping down the charts and then slowly going back up, especially with its final run. And it gained a lot of stuff on social media because everybody was liking it and reading it, and was not very happy that it got canceled. There's a lot of backlash about that. There are a lot of people that wanted DC to relaunch with a number 1 maybe for Condon to continue writing Green Arrow, which I could see, but they have not done that, and their plans for Green Arrow, they don't seem to be doing anything with Green Arrow. He's kind of appearing in Detective Comics in this most recent story, but outside of that, they don't really have any plans. And it was really people being like, okay, this is a well-made comic. We like this. We're giving you our money for it. Why is it not continuing? Which has really made DC, for better or for worse, reevaluate what they're doing and put the concept of media presence, what people are perceiving of their books online, above sales in a sense.
Yeah.
So
if everybody's talking about it, then that should be a massive boon to them wanting to keep it going. Obviously, the underlying sales do need to be the ultimate driver of decision making, but those can slip sometimes, and it can sometimes. There have been economic issues in the United States. I don't know if you've noticed this recently. That it can be more of a problem of economics than it is of the story. And yes, you may still want to cut something off in a time of poor economics because you don't want to lose money. But if you're kind of in the middle of things and you've got a good thing going, and because there's going to be a time of turbulence in the economy, you stop it entirely, it's going to be hard to then pick it back up later, versus if you just kind of bear with it for a time, and then once that turbulence is over in the economy and people are back to having some extra spending money to go and spend on comics, then you're right there ready for them. In fact, they may even go and buy the backlog as well. So, it's something to consider, that if a lot of people are talking about it still online, and especially if it's oh, I really wish I could get this, that should be a driver of decision making as well.
People have seen this. They think so. DC extended 3 series past what they were supposed to go with, and are now ongoings now. Those 3 series being Poison Ivy, Absolute Martian Manhunter, and Superman Unlimited. people theorize, they speculate, because those books they're not the top sellers in their categories at all. Like Absolute Martian Manhunter is not the best-selling Absolute book by any metric. Mm-hmm. Superman Unlimited is the third Superman book and probably sells under Supergirl, if we're honest. Mm-hmm. And there's a very select audience for Poison Ivy. Let's just be real. So those continuing into ongoings, people have speculated that is because of the backlash from the Green Arrow book getting canceled. And them not wanting similar reactions to some bigger, conceptually, some bigger characters and their books getting canceled.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, let us know, guys, if you want to hear some more of us talking about the economics of comics. Yeah. Because that was actually an interesting, 5 minutes of going over the background behind the scenes of what's going on in the comic world, like from an economic and business standpoint. Yeah. You may not know this. Both of us are actually in business majors.
This is true.
I am in a specific business school. You are taking a really interesting business degree right now.
This is true.
And so both of us are quite knowledgeable when it comes to business topics such as this. And of course, applying what we know to what we like.
Yes.
That's an easy selling point for us. So if that's something you guys would be interested in, let us know. We'll probably do it anyway, but let us know anyway, to at least so that we know to keep doing it once we start. But that would be really interesting. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And since we're probably going to do it anyway, let us know specifically what you would like us to talk about in that case. What level of depth would you like if we were to do something like that?
Talk about the diamond collapse and how that's made the comic industry very interesting currently.
I have no idea what he's talking about. But regardless, random little things. If there's like a specific niche topic like that, I guess, that has to do with economics and business in the comic industry, then heck, and also film, like we do film stuff, TV,
anything that you want to hear.
What's happening with theaters nowadays is very much business driven stuff to talk about.
Very much so is.
Could be it's in our area of expertise. So
let us know. We will talk about it if you tell us to talk about it, because we like to talk. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yes, we are good at talking. Sometimes we're not, actually, but regardless.
Yeah, and if you want some wrap up on how Green Arrow fans are doing right now, because you think that their emotional state might be sad because they don't have an ongoing book. Well, there's this thing. We'll flash it on the screen. It's called Absolute Green Arrow. It is launching...
Stop making more work for me.
It is launching probably around the time this video goes up, like maybe a week or two after.
Yeah.
So,
this video goes up tomorrow, so...
Really?
Yeah.
So it's 2 weeks after this video goes up.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So 2 weeks from now, go to your comic shop. Absolute Green Arrow will be there for you. I know it's a, subversion, different take. It's going to probably be pretty good, if we're honest. Or it's going to be utter garbage.
Probably. I mean, it has to answer a very, very pressing question. The elephant in the room of... Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Absolute evil.
Absolute evil. Do not continue past this point.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He's dead.
Oliver Queen. His brains were all over the Justice League's table.
Yeah.
It was lovely. We saw it. Anyway, so Absolute Green Arrow fans, go enjoy your own Absolute version of your character. As an Aquaman fan, I'm waiting for Absolute Aquaman, though I am enjoying having Emperor Aquaman as an ongoing. So I can somewhat relate to you, but I'm in a time where I'm eating good for one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. Well, we're approaching 30 minutes here, so that's a little longer than I was anticipating. So Judah, really quickly, drink shout out.
Drink shout out. So if you are having a Guinness, when this goes up on Saturday, if you're having a Guinness in the middle of the day on a Saturday, then you're a legend, and B, special shout out to you, because Guinness is the best, which Kirk disagrees with me about, but that's fine. With that being said, good morning,
good evening,
and good night. God bless.
Bye.